The great hall of the conclave was silent, a monument to interstellar power built of cold, gleaming alloys and shimmering light. Delegates from 100 species watched, their forms a testament to the galaxy's diversity. At the center of the polished floor stood the challenger. She was a Vral, a species whose reputation was carved across the stars with plasma fire and conquest. Her scales held the color of burnished copper, her posture was rigid with pride, and her 4 arms were sheathed in the ceremonial dueling gauntlets that denoted her caste. A warrior royal, undefeated in 17 honor combats. Her voice, a sharp modulation in the universal translator, cut the air. I demand a duel. A contest of true strength, of spirit and blade, not of crumbling treaties and cowardly words. I have studied your species, humans. You are clever with machines, adept at hiding behind shields and long-range weapons. But where is your core? Where is the individual fire? I challenge a human warrior to face me, here, now. Let the conclave see what substance lies beneath the technology. A murmur rippled through the assembly. The human delegation, a small group in simple gray uniforms near the back, conferred quietly. The Vral's accusation was a calculated one, targeting the human military doctrine of combined arms remote warfare, and systemic resilience strategies that had checked Vral expansion, but were. In her view, dishonorable dot from the human group, a figure stepped forward. Not the tallest, not the broadest. The human moved with an economical grace, coming to a stop a respectful distance from the Vral. The human's features were calm, the expression unreadable. I accept your challenge, the human said, the voice level and clear. The Vral warrior felt a flash of triumph, tinged with disappointment. This was the champion? The human wore no exo-armor, carried no visible weapon. Where is your blade? Your armor? Do you come to die with such disrespect? The challenge was for a duel, the human replied. You specified spirit and blade. My spirit is here. My blade is my body. The rules, as proclaimed, do not forbid this. A flicker of irritation crossed the Vral's face. Technically true. The ancient codes, invoked for this spectacle, emphasized personal capability. To refuse over a lack of metal would seem petty. So be it. Your fragility will be your epitaph. She activated her gauntlets. 4 blades of coherent energy, each capable of slicing through battle plate, hummed to life, 2 from her upper arms, 2 from her lower. She assumed her opening stance. A beautiful and lethal display of interlocking defensive arcs. The human simply stood, hands loose at the sides, knees slightly bent. The signal to begin chimed. The Vral moved. She was a vortex of shining copper and incandescent light, closing the distance with terrifying speed. Her first strike, a probing slash from a lower blade, aimed to sever the human's leg at the knee. The human did not block. The human moved, not away, but inside the strike's trajectory, a minimal turn of the torso that let the energy blade pass harmlessly through empty air. A second blade followed from above, a decapitating sweep. The human dropped, not into a crouch, but into a fluid roll that carried the body forward. Past the Vral's flank, the warrior adjusted instantly, her 4 arms allowing for a continuous storm of strikes from impossible angles. Yet each time, the human was not where the blades landed. There was no frantic dodging, only precise, minimal movements. A lean, a shift of weight, a step that was half a dance. The human's calm was unnerving. This was not a fight. It was an evasion. The Vral's frustration grew. Stand and fight. Face my blades. The human remained silent, circling, watching. The Vral intensified her assault, her patterns becoming more aggressive, leaving smaller gaps. She drove the human toward the edge of the hall, where a curved wall would limit movement. The human's back was almost to the gleaming surface. Seeing the trap, the warrior unleashed her finishing pattern, a simultaneous thrust from all 4 blades, a star of death that covered every angle of escape. The human did not try to escape all of them. The human chose one. As the blades lanced in, the body twisted, an articulation that seemed to defy bone and sinew. The upper left blade grazed the human's shoulder, searing fabric and flesh. But the movement was a sacrifice, a calculated pass that brought the human inside the thrall's formidable guard. For the first time, the human struck out. It was not a punch. It was a precise, driving touch. 2 fingers, rigid as iron, impacted a specific junction between 2 scales on the Vrul's lower right torso. A nerve cluster. Agony, sharp and blinding, erupted through the warrior's system. Her lower right arm went limp, the energy blade sputtering out. She roared, swinging wildly with her remaining 3. The human was already gone, flowing around her like water around a stone. Another touch, this time at the base of her primary spine, where a muscle group crucial for balancing her upper arms met. The limb did not break, but it spasmed violently, disobeying her command. Another blade died. Panic, a sensation utterly alien to her, began to creep in. She was a masterpiece of martial evolution, built to wield 4 weapons in perfect harmony. Now she was reduced to 2, her body betraying her with tremors and dead weight. She fought on, but her patterns were broken, her rhythm lost. The human moved with the same terrible efficiency. A strike to a pressure point on her thigh made the leg buckle. A sharp impact on her wrist forced her to drop a 3rd gauntlet. She stood, panting, supported by 1 shaking leg, only 1 energy blade remaining active in her upper left hand. The human stood before her, the only sign of injury the smoldering mark on the shoulder. The human's expression had not changed. There was no gloating, no anger, just focused attention. "Submit," the human said quietly. "Never." With a final desperate cry, she lunged, putting all her remaining strength into a single killing thrust. The human caught the wrist, not with a crushing grip, but with a leverage that used the thrall's own momentum against her. There was a sharp twist, a controlled motion, and the warrior felt her balance leave her completely. She was falling, not crashing, but guided down onto her back. The human knelt, 1 knee pinning her only functional arm, the other applying gentle but inescapable pressure to her thorax. The last energy blade winked out. The great hall was utterly, profoundly silent. She lay there, pinned not by weight, but by technique, utterly defeated. She had not been overpowered. She had been understood. Her anatomy, her kinematics, her patterns, all had been read, parsed, and dismantled. The human had not fought her strength. The human had conversed with her body in a language of pressure and nerve, and her body had surrendered. The human leaned close, voice for her alone. "You asked for our core. You asked for individual fire. This is it. Our first weapon is not the blade or the gun. It is the mind. The mind that studies, that understands, that turns an opponent's power into their weakness. My people spent centuries mastering our own bodies, then centuries more learning how others move. This was not a duel of my strength against yours. It was a duel of my knowledge against your assumptions." The human stood up, releasing her, and took several steps back, returning to a neutral posture. The Thrall warrior did not get up. She could not. The physical defeat was complete, but the philosophical defeat was absolute. She had demanded a display of primal power, expecting a brute with a club or a straightforward swordsman. Instead, she had been dissected by a scientist of conflict. The human's fire was not a raging blaze. It was the focused heat of a laser, applied with surgical precision. From the floor, she looked up at the human, then at the stunned assembly. The outcome was clear. There was no need for a pronouncement. The silence broke into a wave of hushed translations and awed clicks and whistles. The human offered a hand to help her up. It was not a gesture of pity, but one of respect. After a long moment, the Vrol warrior, her pride in ashes, took it. As she rose, she spoke, her voice raw but clear. I sought a beast of ore. I found a master of it. Your way. Stuns me. The human gave a small, final nod. The duel is over.